What's up, my friends? Happy Friday. We made it. TGIF. Oh, thank goodness it's Friday, and fortunately does not mean football. That's Sunday, and I can't wait for Sunday. We're going to be talking about the main slate right here, right now. We're going to dive into Fanduel today, as we normally spend most of our time on DraftKings. We're going to look at some Fanduel and Yahoo. We're going to have some fun with it. Going to bounce around a little bit more than I normally do for this Friday stream. This Friday stream often is me just normally talking about all the player prices, the projections, all this stuff. I have not had a chance. I sent out that alert to try to go ahead and get this thing started as fast as I could. You know how my life works over here. And here I am, a couple minutes late. Sorry about that. Appreciate you for being here, though, chat. I saw y'all in there chatting with one another before the stream even started. That's what I love about y'all. So let me go ahead. I'm going to grab FanDuel and I'll grab Yahoo. Download both of those, and we will look at some of the pricing discrepancies and things like that on both sites. And I feel like it's going to be a phenomenal week. It's a really tough week of DFS if you are not hooked up with a good company, if you don't have good projections, and you don't know what the heck you're doing. Because the pricing this week is, not the single game. The pricing this week is actually quite interesting. And there's not any significant lean on some of these games where you're like, yup, 100% know exactly what I want to do and how I want to do it. All right. Because the games, there's nothing really set up where you're looking at them saying massive shootout upside. All right. And if there are, everyone else is already talking about it. I see everyone under the sun talking about the Giants and the Cowboys, and it makes me want nothing to do with that game. And we're going to talk about kind of how to handle some of those situations. We also did a heck of a lot of research this week on lineup study and lineup rewind. Looked at 6-player game stacks. You heard me right. And why? Well, we saw Chipotle doing it, Chipotle Addict doing it. Took top 10, 2 out of, I think, 3 weeks in the $40 150 max, and it was 97 entries last week. And he continues to place in the top 10. And I just wanted to look at it. So we did a bunch of studying, doing lineup study for 6-player stacks. Tried to execute it a little bit. We had mixed results weeks 1 through 4 when we did it. I'm going to try to run out probably some of my lineups in 6-mans. We did not look at that for FanDuel. That was specifically for DraftKings. So I'm not entirely sure if that's something I'll be doing for FanDuel or Yahoo specifically. But we just spent the entire week. Showdown DraftKings, Showdown lineup study, Showdown lineup rewind and lineup study for DraftKings. We did main slate lineup study and lineup rewind for DraftKings. So I was like, you know what? Let's just mix it up today. Let's mix it up. So here we are. It's Friday. We're going to do some FanDuel to begin, and then we'll do some Yahoo. Now, I wanted to look at, let's go ahead and slap on this main slate. I wanted to look at some of the players' pricing in regards to their stacks. Now, we have a tool on the website that will highlight this stuff for you. It's the stacks tool. And when you go through that, it will highlight how much the average stack costs, what the upside of the stack is, and things like that. But when you're looking through and doing your groups and you're starting to put together player groups, lineup building groups, that stuff to me is slightly irrelevant. It's kind of just looking at, if I'm using this quarterback, how am I putting together my stacks around that quarterback? In which case the pricing does not matter. I'm simply looking to capture the best upside that I can within the stacks that I have. But if you go through the stacks tool, I think that is when you can start to narrow down your field. You can pull out a quarterback stack that you don't like based on the projections and the model itself. Maybe the ownership is a large factor of that as well. But when I was looking through it all before the stream, I don't have any significant lean when I am looking at this slate where I'm saying, you know what, these quarterbacks are too chalky, things like that. That takes me off of the stacks themselves. But when I did look at the wide receivers, I did start to see some of these wide receivers at slightly elevated ownerships. But I tell you what, even I'm looking at FC Pro right here. Even if you look at the rise or fall ownership, ours, I think our top one was like 16% ownership or so. There's just like nothing here where I'm looking at it where it pops off the page to me that says you need to fade, you need to do this X, Y, and Z. The only real leverage situation this week seems to be the Derrick Henry scenario at running back. He's the only elevated ownership that is significant in my mind. Everything else was very close, very flat, which means the world is our oyster. I think ultimately in week 5, the correlation in your lineups going to be more important than the leverage in your lineups. There's not much to leverage. In fact, I think this week, if you're focusing on building the best possible lineups, using the best possible players, and then just focusing on how much correlation you want for each specific quarterback. Remember, certain quarterbacks don't need as much correlation as the others. I think you're in for a good week. Hopefully you have the right combination and you can end up winning some serious money. So let's fire it up here. I wanted to lead off with that. I thought it was most important this week to talk about kind of how to construct your lineups before we even started talking about the players themselves. And when you're looking on FanDuel, I want to remind you, FanDuel builds much different to me than DraftKings. FanDuel, I'm looking for touchdown equity, and not just touchdown equity for my quarterbacks and my wide receivers and stuff, but touchdown equity within my stacks. I am not really going out of my way to target Justin Herbert with Keenan Allen stacks. Keenan Allen is not a high touchdown equity guy. His price tag at 7.2 is fine, but this is just not somebody who has spent most of his career scoring touchdowns. He did have a fair amount last year, but he's already taking a back seat to Jared Cook, Donald Parham, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler in the red zones getting past targets as well. So I'm just, a guy like Keenan Allen, I'll be targeting with Justin Herbert in stacks on DraftKings. But if we're talking FanDuel, I'm going with Mike Williams. I'm just not there. It's going to be lineup building groups with Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, and Jared Cook, and probably even Austin Eckler. All right. So that is kind of the differential for how we build our lineups. And we don't often talk about FanDuel, but it matters to me if we are talking about FanDuel today to make sure that we are certainly making sure that we're talking about the equity in the scoring. So let's go ahead. Let's get started. Guys like Kyler Murray, again, this is somebody spreading the ball around this year. I am really not interested in making a lineup building group for Kyler Murray on FanDuel. I'm basically just saying, give me $8,500 Kyler Murray, and I'm okay with him spreading the ball around, and I'm going to get maybe a rushing touchdown that kind of increases his scoring floor and ceiling combination. If I'm paying up, or if I'm paying for one of his wide receivers, I'm more or less looking for like these pay down guys, Christian Kirk, AJ Green, Rondell Moore, DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to be a fine one-off or something like that if you want to hope that this is the game where he finally catches a couple touchdowns, goes for 9 for 136, 9 for 169, just pops off. But he isn't the type of guy I'm really targeting on FanDuel. But I'm okay with a guy like AJ Green, where he's not going to burn me if he only catches 5 for 60 and does not score. Okay, that's 8.5 points at 5.7, doesn't kill me, but you're okay there. If he scores, you're happy as a clam at 5.7K. Another guy, let's go ahead and continue here with the pricing, like Tom Brady. Well, then, oh my gosh, my friends, this is a lineup building group that I want to center a lot of my exposure on. So Tom Brady, a guy who will not score with his legs, but he can throw the ball like crazy through the air and rack up many, many points through the air. I love lineup building groups with Godwin, with Brown. I'm kind of off at Evans a little bit, even though he has the highest touchdown equity most likely on the team. And I'm focused on Cameron Brate. I'm building lineup building groups. I'm making sure I have these larger groups around Tom Brady. And I'm also asking FC to make lineups with 2 pass catchers for all Tom Brady groups. Similarly, I'm doing that with Kirk Cousins. I like the touchdown equity with Kirk Cousins when I am focusing on, his wide receivers here as well. Let's keep going here. There they are. KJ Osborne, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. I'm asking for 2, and Tyler Conklin. I'm asking for 2 pass catchers when I'm using a guy like Kirk Cousins, when I'm using a guy like Tom Brady. When I'm using someone like Kyler Murray, I'm only looking for 1, max 1. So here's how I would do this week. Instead of running out a blanket auto group creator, I'm probably going to go out of my way to do individual groups when I make them. So Kyler Murray, I'm going to make sure that when Kyler Murray is my quarterback, I am going to include these pass catchers, and they're all there, but I'm putting at most 1. And I'm not saying at least 1, exactly 1, between 0 and 1. I'm just doing at most 1. I'm okay with Kyler Murray in many lineups this week, but I don't want Kyler Murray with multiple wide receivers. He's just not a 4 or 5 touchdown throwing guy. Somebody else who is, and by the way, I'm going to manually do these because we often use the auto group creator. Well, let me help all of you people who are using your $20 voucher that teamriseorfall.com members have. And I'm going to show you the way to do it. Kyler Murray. I'm going to show you the way I do it manually. So this one, Tom Brady. And let me show you how this is going to just be different. So Tom Brady's in there. I'm going to remove all the players. I'm going to type in TAM, TB, Tampa Bay. Add Godwin, Evans, Brown, Brait. And I want at least 2 involved in every single lineup. And on top of that, I'm going to give a little boost to Antonio Brown. I'm going to take a little away from Mike Evans and leave it as such. And maybe I'll give a little boost here, in fact, to Cameron Brate. So what I just did is I said every single time that Tom Brady is here, I want exactly 2 of these players used from this group. I've given a 5% increase on the projection for Cameron Brate, a 15% increase for Antonio Brown, and a 5% decrease on Mike Evans. Chris Godwin stayed the same, kind of just like him where he is. And this doesn't give that projection increase and decrease across your entire player pool. It's only whenever Tom Brady is selected as your quarterback. We're going to do something similar here with Kirk Cousins. Oops, I have team. I've got Cousins, and we'll go to position. There we go. And let's see here. Let's do Minnesota. I'd add Thielen. I'm going to add Jefferson, Osborne, Conklin. All right. And again, this is another one where if Cousins throws for 303 touchdowns, he spreads the ball around. Hopefully, 2 of these guys can score. If he goes 3-4 touchdowns, this guy has a top 30 all-time touchdown rate. He was a top 5 scoring quarterback last year through the last 11 weeks. Until this past week, he was also top 5 through the first 3 weeks. And I think that the matchup against Detroit, I know it's a divisional matchup, but I think Minnesota's going to be scoring like crazy this week. So I'm making a lineup building group saying anytime Kirk Cousins is in there, I want exactly 2 pass catchers. Tom Brady is in there. If he spreads the ball out 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, I want exactly 2. Kyler Murray, at most 1. So this is what you got to do when you're building your lineups on FanDuel, my friends. Hey, congrats last night, Wes. I saw a lot of people win a lot of money in the showdown slate this week in our Discord. It was really cool to see. It was really cool to see how many people won serious money last night. Turning $15 into 700. I saw $6 into 190, things like that. So it's pretty cool because I like that people are using hobby money, a little bit less and still getting significant returns. Now, a guy like Dak Prescott, listen, this is somebody who can score with his legs, but we are seeing him spread the ball out a lot. He's not really racking up the yardage. So you have a scenario here where I think it's a little bit more difficult to focus on using multiple wide receivers with Dak Prescott. So I think if you were to make a Dak Prescott group, when you go into your groups, all right, let's go ahead. We'll do Dak, Dallas, all right, there we go. I'm going to do it a little bit quicker here. I'm so used to using Auto Group Creator. That's the beauty of it. Okay, so here I go. I've got the salary right here. So I'm going to add Cooper. I'm going to add Gallup. Nope. Schultz. Cedric Wilson. We will add CeeDee Lamb. Where are you, big man? And Dak Prescott. And I think I can sort these both at the same time. Let me try. Yep, there we go. So just found out myself. If you click on the team right here, and then it sorts it, and then hold on to Shift and click on the salary one while you're holding Shift, it will sort your teams and then their pricing. So now it makes it so much easier because if I scroll down to Dallas, you're going to see their pricing. Here it is from top to bottom. So there's Zeke all the way down. I just type in Dak. I already have them up there? No. Why don't I have them? Oh, he's not my player pool. Bobo. Let me add Dak. All right, so now I've got Dak Prescott in there. I'm going to make sure I key him in, and I'm probably just going to say use at least one. Like, I'm not entirely sure if I want 2 or more of these guys. Like, I feel like even when he does throw 3 or 4 touchdowns, these guys just aren't racking up receptions and yards because they're not throwing the football like crazy, right? So if I key in Dak, I can roll it out and just say at least one. And by the way, for these teams this week, let's say we went through each quarterback scenario, by the way, which I'm not going to do live. It does take a while. If you want to win money, you got to put some effort in here. I think after that, you simply just go to your position stacks and you do stuff like this. I want QB with exactly 1 wide receiver or tight end from the opposing team. And when I do this, I'm going to include, let's say my player pool was the players I have. Tampa against Miami. Yes, I want that. So let's do Tampa. I'm going to make sure Tampa is in here because I want, Gesicki, run backs, Parker, Waddle, players like that. Okay, so we'll put Dallas, absolutely, because we want Giants. We want Evan Ingram, Kenny Golladay. We want those guys. Let's not do Kirk Cousins because I don't care about Detroit running back. So I literally have just said if Kirk Cousins is used, I got 3-player team stacks. Let's go. We got Prescott. So we'll put Dallas in there because we definitely want Giants players on the other side. So we have Prescott, Tampa. Go Tampa. And Arizona, did we want anybody on the other side for Arizona against San Francisco? That's a tough choice. That's a tough choice because if, Trey Lance is starting and they only throw the ball 20 times, you're really getting somebody worthwhile on the other side? There we go. So, like if I did it, I set it up like this. Because of the way I set up my groups, I gave, like percentage boosts on projections. And then I set up my rules. Whenever I create my lineups here, I would have Kyler Murray stacks with at most 1 of his players and 1 from the other side. And then I would have Dak Prescott with at least 1. And then it would have exactly 1 of the Giants. Tom Brady would be in there with exactly 2 of his wide receivers and exactly 1 run back from Miami. And Kirk Cousins would be in there with exactly 2 of his wide receivers, nobody from Detroit. So if you go through, my friends, and if you just got into groups, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing right now, bro. So what I'm doing is making sure that I'm getting exactly what I want correlation-wise out of my lineups. Because this week, I think it's so important. I'm not concerned about ownerships really at all at any position. Legitimately looked at the FanDuel slate and said to myself, I just want to make sure that every single stack that I build is perfectly correlated the way that I envision being the most optimal way to go. Now, did I look at the stacks tool before I did this? No. Should you? Absolutely. I think the stacks tool will kind of be the guide this week. And this is the Fantasy Cruncher stream, so I'm in here showing FC. But I think certainly if you're going to be putting these together, the two work in conjunction with one another. You go to the stacks tool, you pay attention to what the stacks are telling you, and then you go ahead and you make sure that whatever you're seeing there happens in FC. There you go. And, you just have to theorize how you envision this stuff happening. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, honestly, you probably make your Aaron Rodgers group. You include 2 people, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams. They're the only 2 catching touchdowns. So you put those 2 in there with Aaron Rodgers. You give Devontae Adams like a 50% increase on his projection, and you leave Aaron Jones as it is. And the increase on Devontae Adams' projection should only be within the group you create for Aaron Rodgers. And you say use at most 1 or use exactly 1 with Aaron Rodgers, right? Just use exactly 1. So most likely you get Devontae Adams. Sometimes you might get Aaron Jones, and that's okay. He has 3 receiving touchdowns, and that's it. And then you could also put in the rules that you want exactly 1 wide receiver from Cincinnati to be on the other side, or maybe exactly 2. And you hopefully Boyd and Chase are your run back options. So we don't talk about FanDuel very much, my friends. We rarely do. That's just not something we do, but it matters. It matters when you're doing it. Okay. And now FanDuel, Yahoo, I want to show you something here. Now, Yahoo's contests are a little bit smaller than some of these other sites. So when you guys are building your Yahoo lineups, you need to make sure your correlation, I would not get too crazy with your correlation on Yahoo, but, unless you're entering like a real big tournament like this, right? There's 42,000 people. Okay, yeah, you're shooting for the moon. We're talking 4-player, 5-player stacks, maybe a 3-player stack, but then you have a secondary correlation. Listen, if you are doing like, this is MLB. Let me throw up a smaller one. This 5.6K or this 1.5K. That is so small. That's a small tournament. You don't need to have a 5-player stack, a 3-player stack with secondary correlation or a secondary game stack. Honestly, you could go out there with a smaller stack and just make sure you are building as optimally as you can for this week. Because again, the ownerships are not through the roof on any position and any player other than Derrick Henry. If that's the one player you want to get off of, I think there in and of itself is the one thing you can do and make yourself unique. Again, listen, if Derrick Henry ends up being 30% owned, you're already going to be moving away from a third of the field and how they are building their lineups. So when you build your lineups this week, seriously, I want you to focus mostly on putting together the best possible. Randall Cobb's a totally fine play, Brian. I don't do analysis streams. I'm not like a picker. I don't do DFS picks. I'm not big on giving people picks. I think they're useless to an extent. It's all what you do with the picks. Picks are important, but you got to know how to use them, right? And what to do with them. I focus on how to build lineups, correlation of lineups, leveraging tournaments, building to the contest you're entering, not just building lineups. I see it every single week on YouTube, on Twitter, people throwing out lineups and saying, look at this stack without any like notion on where you would enter a stack like that. So like my stream is not going to be like, Randall Cobb, you need to use this guy because he had 6 targets, 3 targets in the red zone last week. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's all baked into our projections. You go ahead, just use our projections. But how to build the lineups, so much more important. What you do with those picks, so much more important. It's so much more important. I like that you asked, though. It's important that we cover that stuff because not a lot. I get it. Here's the thing, too. It's like people will tune into the stream who don't know me, and they're like, all right, what's Donuts have for me? He going to give me some picks for Sunday? And they're thinking I'm ready to do like a pick stream. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking picks a little bit here, but honestly, I want to talk more about what to do with those picks. I do. I want to talk about what to do with those picks more than anything else. And on Yahoo, honestly, when you're putting together your lineups, I want you to focus on the upside of your stack at their price points more so than any other slate. Because think about it this way. We all have a $200 budget. You have, get out of here, Windows to security. You have stacks up here, players up here that are $38. Meanwhile, you have players down here that are about 40% less in price. Can you imagine a 40% decrease on a price tag on a site like FanDuel? That's nuts. That is nuts. My friends, 40% decrease. We're talking like paying. What if we did a 40% decrease from Brady to who was one of them that was down there? Let's do this. This is actually a phenomenal way to look at this. Daniel Jones, $25. So we're talking a $13 decrease on Tom Brady, $13, 33% decrease. A 33% decrease on an $8,000 $8,400 salary. Let's do some quick math here. Comes out to $3,200. So on FanDuel, paying $8,400 for Tom Brady, you would be paying $5,200 for Daniel Jones. On FanDuel, it does not matter. The price tag drop is a freaking grand. I don't spend a lot of time on $7,000 quarterbacks on FanDuel. You just don't need to do that. There's just not much of a discrepancy in the salary. Look at Yahoo. $38. You're paying $25. A 33% decrease in salary for a guy like Daniel Jones. Precisely, Wes. These streams are for people serious about making money, how to efficiently use an optimizer, and even to an extent, how to view DFS on each site, how to build lineups, I think, in a more efficient way. Someone's going to tell you Someone's going to tell you, oh, I love Daniel Jones this week. Oh, I like his price tag over there, $25. They're going to say, Tom Brady, I think he's thrown for 3 touchdowns this week. You know, I like his stack on Yahoo because you can jam in Antonio Brown. I think he's like $18 or something. Yep, $19. Right? They're just going to talk about this. Love this stack. Love this stack. I mean, is it really that good of a stack? The score you need Tom Brady to have here at $38 is astronomical. Meanwhile, and by the way, his average at 24 points, right? Meanwhile, Daniel Jones, let me show you one more time. 24.6 points per game, Tom Brady. 23.8 points per game, Daniel Jones. 33% decrease in price. Fam, you could still use Antonio Brown. You could still use him on Yahoo if you'd like. But you can put together a better stack by focusing on the pricing on a site where a lot of people just aren't paying attention to, and they're simply regurgitating what they're doing on FanDuel and DraftKings over on Yahoo. Just trying to get you all thinking a little bit today. If you give a man to fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. This is why I watch your streams, to learn so I can get better at my processes. That's pretty cool, man. I do the same thing with groups. That way I can disable for when I need to make my cash lineup, then turn them back on if needed. What's up, people late to the party? What's up, Wolf? I saw you have a nice night last night on Showdown Slate. What'd you hit? First place, right? You took you had 2 lineups tied for first in your contest. What, $300, $375, something like that. Nice hit, dude. I'm happy for you. Oops. YouTube. Well, look at this. We got 23 something people already liked the video. Haven't even said please like the video today, and you're already doing it on your own. You guys are the best. First and third this guy took. Sweet humble brag. Congratulations, man. That's pretty cool. Congratulations. Today's stream is different. It's just different. I wasn't in the mood to sit here and do a pick stream. I wanted to talk about this stuff. I wanted to talk about creating groups in FC manually. I wanted to talk about Yahoo and how to kind of look at not just the projections, but looking at like the pricing. The pricing is just so important on Yahoo. It's insane. Like, check it out. I mean, I was just talking about pricing. Look at when I sort by value. Like, these guys are some of the best quarterbacks to use on Yahoo this week, if you're going by the value, because of the insane drop-off in salaries. I mean, I'm not touching Big Ben, I'll say that. But Daniel Jones, why the heck not? Against Dallas? Yup. I like that. Justin Fields, hopefully he throws the football a little bit more. I like Trevor Lawrence this week. Just feed LaVisca. Heck, I mean, you are getting, let's think quick math here. So $38 to $28. You are getting about a 28% discount on Tom Brady to Jalen Hurts. Why? Why are you getting that much of a discount on Jalen Hurts? Look at their averages. Jalen Hurts is the second highest scoring quarterback according to Yahoo projections, Yahoo scoring. 25.3 points per game this guy is on the main slate. Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones are all cheaper than Tom Brady, all much better values. No one talks about it. No one pays attention to this stuff. Nobody pays attention. They're just regurgitating what they're doing from FanDuel and DraftKings over on Yahoo without any inclination of what the heck they're doing when they're putting together the lineups. That's the takeaway I want you to have today. We went over the FanDuel group building, all right, where this week I think that ownerships is irrelevant, and I think you're just focusing on making the most optimal lineups you can in the way that you foresee using each quarterback. You know, again, Kirk Cousins with no Detroit players running back, but you're using 2-player stacks. Kyler Murray with only, you know, what do we say, at most one. Tom Brady, exactly 2, having a 1 run back. Build your lineups how you think they need to be built on FanDuel to win without worrying about all the secondary and tertiary processes that we usually include. I think those, honestly, this week, kick them out the window. Throw them out the window. Kick them off the deck, whatever you got to do. And on Yahoo, Superdraft, these other side sites, don't regurgitate your FanDuel and DraftKings takes. Try to approach them differently. I have no clue. I don't know what that means. I mean, you can just sort them by value in FC. Upload our projections, and then there you go. Like the values are funky because it's in dollars. But like DJ Moore, my goodness, he's still just $20. Second highest scoring guy here. But you know who's probably going to be similarly owned this weekend, and rightfully so, maybe Devontae Adams, $33. And they are. Look at FC Pro ownership, 19.8, 18.6. I don't know. I just want to get you guys thinking about things. Thanks for hanging out today. Appreciate y'all. I do hope you do subscribe. Thank you very much, FC, for the stream sponsor. You guys can grab our link down below. Hit that like button on your way out for me. I appreciate that very much. I know it's a different type of stream. I do. And it's not for everybody. I know it's not for everybody. My goal is never to be for everybody. I ultimately just want to put out what I would want to see if I were watching videos, if I were trying to find an edge. And that's what I do. I just give whatever that is to me on screen to you. And if it doesn't become, the most watched video, most watched stream, that's okay. That's not my goal. I don't want to be like everybody else, just doing whatever's best for SEO and whatever's best for viewership. I want to do what's best for you. And I want to do what I enjoy. And both of those, honestly, coincide. What I think is best for you is what I enjoy the most. What I enjoy the most, I think, is best for the viewers too. The people who want to win money. So that's what we're here for. Trying to get better at DFS, trying to improve our game, trying to make some money. And ultimately, we'll let the chips fall where they may. And if we become the next, big company or something someday, so be it. If we don't, totally fine. I know I'll be happy and I can go to sleep at night knowing I'm not a snake oil salesman, just trying to dump off, some picks and stuff to try to make a buck. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I do appreciate your support. Thank you very much for hitting the like button and all that good stuff. I'm looking at trying to do a Saturday video, actually putting one together. So look for that. I'll be doing the Donuts playbook. That is the Saturday private premium member building, leverage article. It's got the picks and pivots, the cores, the player pools for Yahoo, Superdraft, FanDuel, DraftKings. It's got the final thoughts section, my exposures, my fancy cruncher rules. I give it all away in the Donuts playbook. So I know most of you are already my members. Be on the lookout for that. And be on the lookout for that other video. I will post that probably right in Discord. You could just turn the alerts, notifications on YouTube. You can turn those on. And I think it shoots off like an email or something to you when it goes live. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, though. I appreciate you. And if you don't catch the video or stream tomorrow, by all means, I'll see you Sunday morning at 9 a.m. By the way, 9 a.m., there is a 9:30 London game. So I was actually thinking I'd have some fun. So that first half hour, Beastie and I usually dive into like just talking about the main slate. I think that first half hour on Sunday morning, pre-lock stream, baby. We're going to make that 30 minutes before the Sunday morning stream, or Sunday morning slate. We're just going to make it like a pre-lock stream, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to have some fun with it. 9 a.m. pre-lock half hour for the London game. And I will see you guys then, 9 a.m. Eastern, YouTube right here. Have a good day, my friends. Take care.